Welcome to the Future You YouTube sessions. Today's guest is Inga Bylinkina. She is a natural health educator, healing nutrition coach, and energy healer. She has studied traditional Chinese medicine, Daoist longevity practices, Auyrveda, and holistic nutrition. She is also co-director and leading instructor at Academy of Healing Nutrition, where she teaches workshops on food as medicine, herbalism, and elixir craft. Well, thank you so much, Inga, for joining me today.
Thank you, Michelle. It's my pleasure to be here.
And you're all the way in Iceland as well.
I am live from Iceland, bringing you the last days of summer live.
I can see it just shining in the background there.
Yes, we have a very sunny day and just beautiful weather. It feels like the fall is starting to come in. The leaves are starting to change a little bit, but it's still this freshness and crispness in the air.
Wow.
So really beautiful here.
I bet. And I bet you the seasons are quite dramatic there.
They are indeed. And we can say that the most pronounced one is winter, really. Sometimes we have really powerful storms, and summer is short, but very beautiful and sweet. And there's this gentle and quick transition into fall, and then we get winter again, and a very quick spring. So we do have 4 seasons, but they're not as pronounced than, say, in the temperate climates like you have in the UK.
Yeah. So the 5 elements of Chinese medicine are wood, fire, water, metal, and earth. And they all relate to different seasons in the calendar. We are currently in the earth element that is known in the calendar as late summer. When does that start and finish?
According to the Chinese medicine 5 elements theory, late summer, or we can also call this Indian summer, we can say it starts somewhere at the end of August and goes through September. We can also kind of have a marker for it around the fall equinox. So fall equinox is this beautiful time when we actually have a total balance between the day and night. Yeah, so it's this time of equal yin and yang energy that presents itself. And the birth and growth of spring and summer is kind of coming to an end. And the harvest and storage of fall and winter is going to begin soon. And so we are in this kind of middle, going towards the fall equinox time, which will mark the perfect balance of the earth element. So usually we look at this time as a good chance for us to do a little reset of our digestive system in particular, and of our energy as well. You know, to really sit and contemplate where are we with our energy? What have we experienced in the summer? And what is it that we need to nurture going into the fall season? Yeah.
I have this great quote actually that I thought was really nice. It's from the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Internal Medicine. The earth element, represented by the spleen pancreas, regulates the center, that which is constant, from where it harmonizes the effects of the 4 seasons.
The Yellow Emperor's Classic is the ancient text that is kind of bringing into consolidation all the wisdom that the earth element presents us. It has to do with the stomach and spleen, which are the 2 organs that are associated with the earth element. And there was this school of stomach and spleen that was part of the Chinese medicine development, and it had a prominent place in this ancient form of healthcare. And it was really concerned about taking care of your digestive system, your digestive cauldron, or what we call this middle burner. You know, they viewed digestion, our digestive system, as this pot of transformational cauldron, where we are cooking up our energy, where we're transforming the energy that we get from the environment into our bodies, like the food, into usable components. We can call them nutrients or fluids or energy itself.
Yeah.
So, this our earth element system is viewed as a pivotal and core system of elements and organs to take care of our health and many issues that stem from the imbalance in this element.
Chinese medicine is all about balance, isn't it? So, for example, if you did have an imbalance of either the stomach or the spleen, what sort of symptoms would you get?
So, as spleen plays a foundational role in the production of our body's energy in general and nourishment, many conditions can arise from weaknesses in the system. So some of the issues that we can see clinically that present out of this imbalance are weight issues or edema, fluid retention, blood sugar imbalances. So this kind of hypoglycemia, also candida or overgrowth of pathogenic organisms in the body, even parasites. Also, we see a lot of digestive issues that stem from this imbalance in the earth element, like bloating or acid reflux, also malabsorption that results in malnourishment in general, diarrhea, lack of appetite, or cravings, especially the cravings for the sweet flavor, because sweet is the flavor that is associated with the earth element. In small amounts, sweet is nurturing for our earth element. But when we eat it excessively, when we consume a lot of dessert, a lot of sweets, a lot of baked goods, it can harm this organ system. So cravings for sweetness. Other things I can think of are fatigue or sluggishness. Also, when it comes to our mind, it's foggy thinking or something that is a bit more kind of a psychological factor, inability to manifest our ideas or kind of being stuck in the rut. Mm-hmm. Also, since earth element represents the muscles of our bodies, the flesh of our body, poor muscle tone or weakness in the limbs can present itself as an imbalance. Kind of moving a little bit further, if this pathological condition goes on for years unattended, it can result in cysts and tumors and fibroids of all kinds and growths. So there is a number of different presentations that this imbalance in the earth element can present itself.
A lot of that's to do with dampness, isn't it, in your body?
It does, yes. Dampness can be viewed as kind of, imagine that you have your cauldron of transformative fire energy that digests and breaks down the information from the outer environment that then becomes your energy and nourishment. And you're pouring a bucket of cold ice cold water over this fire. So what you get as a result is this kind of weakened fire, and it results in the earth that becomes muddy and stagnant like a bog. Yeah. And what it means really is it turns many of our organs and systems functions to be sluggish. Mm-hmm. And leads to stagnation in the body, physical and also in the energy channels of the body. So in the physical, it can manifest as, it's kind of like clogged pipes, the stagnant earth. It encourages candida overgrowth and other pathogens and parasites and all kinds of conditions in the body, such as SIBO, for example, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, constipation as well, and this excess weight and water retention, all kinds of growths and cysts. On the mental level, this dampness, like I already mentioned, is this being stuck in the rut, which often leads us to procrastination and self-loathing and lack of motivation to do things. And we get this kind of fuzzy, foggy thinking. We get bogged down and stuck in negative loops, and we don't know how to get out of them. So there is kind of this too much stagnation and dampness in the system that is often finding its way into our system through the earth element, through an imbalance in the earth element.
Yeah. It's about the digestive fire, isn't it? So if you're not getting the nutrients, that digestive fire is not alight, it's getting dampened.
Exactly. So in Chinese medicine, we are all about preserving our digestive fire. We want to kindle that fire. We want to keep it strong so that our digestive system and our metabolism are powerful and can break down the foods that bring in those micro and macronutrients for our nourishment, to rebuild the cells, to give us energy, to build powerful, strong blood. So when our digestive fire is weak, we are not able to transform food into nourishment, and it results in all these stagnant conditions.
And so what foods can try and dry dampness to the stomach and spleen?
Yes, so in Chinese medicine, we are very strong about using food as medicine. And there's a whole beautiful system of understanding food in terms of their thermal energies and the organs that they're affecting, and kind of the directionality where these foods travel in your body. And this knowledge is really innate of all of us. And our ancestors knew how to use this intuitively. So with the advent of modern nutritional theories, we kind of got a little bit disconnected and a little bit bogged into this thinking that foods are functional and they only have this caloric value, and they're just there to provide us with energy. And instead, the Chinese medicine views food as this beautiful, poetic system of, nourishing all levels of our being. So, for example, with the earth element, we have specific foods that we kind of call are in the middle spectrum of food energies. So these include, round yellow vegetables, root vegetables like pumpkins and butternut squash or kabocha or rutabaga, parsnips, carrots. Sweet potatoes and yams are phenomenal here for the earth element. Also, it's the grains that have the affinity with the earth element, and particularly for healing these damp conditions, we are looking at things such as millet, which is a gluten-free grain, and quinoa or amaranth, as well as rice. Mild warming spices such as ginger and turmeric, as well as cinnamon, which has now been proven to support the blood sugar and digestive system. But also cumin and coriander, cardamom, all these mild, gentle spices, they support our digestive fire and help us to prevent boggy, stagnant conditions. You can even do like a little fast with these mild yellow kind of round vegetables with addition of some gluten-free grains and maybe yellow lentils or something like that. So in Auyrveda, we have a dish which is a classic for this time of the year, and it's called khichdi. It's a very nourishing, very easy to digest a dish that has some of these mild warming spices. It helps that we can start the new season, kind of going into the colder time of the year, with the powerful metabolism, which requires us to keep that digestive fire strong through the cold time of the year.
Yeah, so it's about keeping things neutral spices and neutral foods, and you're almost giving your body a rest if you're just keeping everything simple.
Exactly. It's about eating simple right now. It's about eating lightly cooked foods and less raw and cold foods. So in Chinese medicine, we have this way of viewing foods from the point of view of their thermal nature. And on the spectrum, we have foods from warming or really hot for the system to very cooling and cold. So those foods that are on the cold spectrum, such as cucumbers and celery, or fruits, especially tropical fruits such as mangoes. They have a very cold thermal nature. And when we eat them in excess, especially at this time of the year, we harm our digestive fire. So right now is not the time for those foods. And we do need to make sure that most of our foods are lightly cooked, and preferably cooked into light soups or these soupy kind of porridges. I often call it the baby food. You know, we can actually blend our foods that are lightly cooked. You can lightly steam your vegetables and then put them in the blender with maybe a little bit of broth to make this kind of puree. So these are the kind of foods that we need to emphasize right now. Something that is going to help us to take all that extra work that the digestive system is doing in the summer with raw foods and fruits, and give it a rest.
Yeah. And so why is it that, so you mentioned briefly that these things, raw foods, why are they bad for your digestive fire and for dampness especially?
In Chinese medicine, we view raw foods as mainly cooling. Yeah. And if we see our stomach as this pot of transformational digestive fire, we want to try to preserve this warm energy and kindle that fire continuously if we want to enjoy good health and good energy. So when we eat excessive raw food or cold natured foods, we harm this digestive fire. And that is not to say that there is no place for those foods in our diet and that we should give up on them forever. It's just the appropriateness of timing with those foods, and also depending on what your constitutional energy is. You know, some of us are born with really strong digestive fire, and we can pretty much digest and break down any food, right? Sometimes you have those, you know, friends or family members that can, you know, eat anything and they don't seem to have any trouble with their digestion. Yet others have numerous sensitivities and sometimes even food allergies, and they have very sensitive and reactive digestive systems. And also, you know, sometimes we find ourselves with a health condition that we need to give ourselves time to heal. So for those times, when you are working on a digestive issue, and if you have a sensitive constitution, which predisposes you to have this weaker digestive fire, this is when we need to really be careful with those raw and cold foods. And that is not to say that this is going to last forever, but as you work through rekindling that digestive fire, you will enable yourself to break down those foods better in the future. So, and right now is the time when we can give ourselves that necessary reset and kindle our digestive system.
You've sort of touched on this briefly already, but if you're in balance as an earth element with your personality and your energy, what sort of type of person would you be compared to someone that's imbalanced?
This whole principle of balance, right? And what it means in Chinese medicine and what it means to me. All of our health problems are due to imbalance of the internal energies and a conflict with the outer environment. Mm-hmm. It's like a lack of harmony in our relationship to ourselves, to others, and to nature. But balance is also not a fixed thing. You can't reach it and be permanently in balance. To me, it's about being flexible. It's about being kind of adaptable and sensitive to my body and the environment where I'm at. Having a sort of a fluid and resilient energetic membrane between my being and the external world. Mm-hmm. It's about meeting the challenges that are arising with grace and being able to stay grounded and find peace in the middle of the storm. You know, right now we are in the middle of the storm, so to say, collectively. So how can we find our way back into centeredness? So for me, when when I look at a person, I'm actually able to kind of recognize the state of their elements in their holistic body mind. And the first things that jump into my kind of inner vision is groundedness or centeredness, the sense of inner peace, and the sense of attunement to one's body and the radiance that comes with that. And of course, this ability to adapt, being very adaptable and flexible.
And what about imbalanced?
There would often be the sense of insecurity about their body image often, because often this imbalance in the earth element comes or manifests as excessive weight accumulation. And so there's often this kind of distorted self-image and lack of love for self. Often you would see someone with kind of the energy that is not coming through as vibrant. So like the person is not owning their space. They're not owning their body, really. Yeah. And kind of a little bit of inability to express their truth, and a bit of this fuzzy thinking, being a little bit all over the place. So think of this as earth element on a psycho spiritual level is about your ability to take in the information from the environment and break it down and use it for your own growth, for empowering your life and for empowering others around you. So when this element is out of balance, you would naturally be kind of prone to wanting to seek more information, wanting to seek more resources, and not being able to actually put these resources to good use.
Yeah, you have a lot of good ideas, but no idea how to do it.
Exactly. Lots of information accumulated, lots of resources, but inability to actually manifest it into something positive, and maybe even into financial prosperity, financial gain that empowers your life.
And do you find that people who do have issues with their stomach and spleen generally manifest these personality traits as well? Do they sort of go hand in hand?
They do. So earth element has the influences on us seasonally, right? So often we find that these issues get exacerbated at the earth element time. You will experience both the physical manifestations of the earth element imbalance, as well as those personality traits perhaps that are part of your constitution. So, and going back to the constitution, each of us embodies all 5 elements to a degree, but often we have 1 or 2 predominant elements that we manifest in through our personality. So for those that are predominantly earth element, will have more struggles with these issues, if that makes sense. So struggle with finding centeredness and being adaptable and grounded. So yeah, you're absolutely, your observation is absolutely correct. There are correspondences here.
What sort of things could you do physically or externally to help with those? Because obviously we talked about the food, but what about externally? What sort of things can we help if you had those deficiencies or the imbalance with the earth element?
I love this question. So the 5 element system of correspondences is a very multi-layered, almost like fractal way of looking into our relationship with nature. So it's kind of this interface that allows us to learn about our own internal ecosystem through observation of nature and its elements and its weather patterns, and so on. So with the earth element, if you put it in more kind of simple, down to earth terms, is literally our home, our mother.
Yeah.
It's our ground. It's the place that we live. It is our actually physical home, whether it's rental or own space, but it's also our body. Yeah. So our muscles are the earth of our bodies. Muscles gives us substance and shape and form. So, and to receive the nourishment to build our body, we must eat. Yeah. So, and digestion is therefore intimately related to the earth element. So earth element is not only our substance, it's how we take in and receive the substances that nourish us. And it brings us to the question, what actually nourishes us? And are we able to receive these things fully? Yes. So receiving nourishment from food, from our relationships, from nature, from information that we choose to put into our heads, into our minds. So earth element is really all about finding ourselves in our relationship to what nourishes us. It's really understanding where the nourishment that we choose to put into our bodies comes from. Or in other words, where have our food been growth, and how has it been growth? Has it been handled with love on the way to our table? Has it been prepared with love? Has it been, nurtured on its way onto our plate? So, and also what is happening in the environment outside of us? What is the state of all of the elements of nature? Its waters, its air, its soil. The ground, the foundation of what creates our mother, because our nourishment really comes from the earth.
Yeah. And the respect of it as well, isn't it? We have to respect the earth for what it is.
Exactly. We cannot have one without the other. We cannot come to terms of respecting and honoring our bodies unless we understand and honor what earth does for us.
Yeah, the harmony again, isn't it? Living in the harmony.
Living in the harmony with the earth. And when we look at it in this like beautiful poetic way, this ancient system of healthcare doesn't seem so complicated, doesn't it? Right?
No, not at all.
It's really in us as well as outside, and it's immediately available for us here now as information that can empower us and that can guide us to be better humans on this planet and to live powerfully from this place of our center. So it's this beautiful time, and I really hope that what we have discussed today is going to find its audience and that we will all kind of start tuning into this beautiful season and living by the principles of alignment and harmony with what is happening on our beautiful planet Earth.
Perfectly said. Thank you.
My pleasure, Michelle.
To connect with Inga, follow the link below.